The sound of a whistle just ended a 20-year career because the WNBA finally decided that protecting their billion-dollar investment is more important than protecting a biased official. We are witnessing a total reputation ruin for a veteran referee who thought they could bully the biggest star in basketball history without facing any real consequences. The secret is finally out of the bag, and the news is shaking the league to its core because a secret blacklist now dictates exactly who is allowed to step onto the court when Caitlin Clark is in the building. This is not some fan theory or a rumor from the sidelines, because the league is quietly distancing itself from the officiating bias that threatened to tank their record-breaking ratings. The crew from the recent matchup between Dallas and Indiana just found out their services are no longer needed for the high-profile games of the season, which serves as a massive warning to anyone else who thinks they are bigger than the sport itself.
Yo, if you love real basketball stories, deep dives, and the drama behind the game, you're in the right place. But if you want to take it to the next level, hit that join button. Members get exclusive content, early access, and behind-the-scenes drops you won't see anywhere else. Plus, you're directly supporting the channel and helping us bring you even better content. So if you rock with Basketball Spilled, become a member today. Let's keep the game alive.
The showdown between the Indiana Fever and the Dallas Wings was supposed to be the highlight of the week, but it turned into a complete officiating disaster within the first 5 minutes of play. While millions of fans tuned in to see Caitlin Clark continue her historic run, the lead official on the floor seemed more interested in teaching the rookie a lesson than calling a fair game. Every time Clark attempted to drive into the paint, she was met with a level of physicality that looked more like a wrestling match than a basketball game, yet the whistle stayed silent. This was a targeted attempt to humble a generational talent, and the bias was so obvious that it left the broadcast team struggling to explain why blatant fouls were being ignored. Alana Smith and the rest of the Wings defense realized early on that they could get away with almost anything because the ref just stood there with a smirk while the league's golden goose was being shoved off her line. What the cameras missed was the constant verbal intimidation that went unchecked throughout the first half, and that's when things took a turn for the worse. During a critical transition play in the second quarter, Clark was hit with such force that she went flying into the basket stanchion, which is a play that normally results in an immediate whistle or even a review. The lead official stood 5 feet away and watched the entire collision, but chose to keep the whistle in their pocket while looking directly at the contact. The very next play saw a Dallas defender trip over their own feet without anyone touching them, and the whistle blew instantly, which provided the clearest evidence of a personal vendetta against the star. This lack of control forced Clark to address the situation with the media after the buzzer, and while she kept her words professional, everyone knew she was calling out a system that was actively trying to screw her. The 2026 season has changed the math for the WNBA because there is too much money on the line to allow a few bitter veterans to ruin the product. Sources from within the league office have confirmed that a secret memo was distributed immediately following the Dallas debacle, and it outlined a new policy for protecting the integrity of the Stars. This memo served as a death warrant for the career of the lead ref from that game because they have been pulled from every high-stakes assignment for the remainder of the month. The league is using this blacklist to quietly remove the officials who refuse to adapt to the new reality where the players are the ones the fans are paying to see. When an official allows a star like Clark to be targeted like a punching bag, they are putting the massive TV contracts and global sponsorships at risk, which is something the front office will no longer tolerate. The financial reality of the modern WNBA forced the commissioner's hand because the data showed a massive drop in viewership every time the game devolved into a one-sided whistle fest. Advertisers began asking why their multi-million-dollar investments were being treated with such disrespect on the floor, and that's when the blacklist became a mechanical necessity for survival. This veteran official had spent years building a reputation as someone who wouldn't be intimidated by stars, but that ego eventually became their downfall when they realized the league is no longer a small-town operation. They are now relegated to working the games that nobody watches, while the officials who understand the assignment are getting the primetime slots and the championship bonuses. It is a cold business decision that proves the era of the celebrity ref is officially over, and the people holding the whistles are finally being held to a professional standard. Looking back at the career of this blacklisted official reveals a dark pattern of behavior that has been poisoning the league for over a decade. They were the same person in charge during the 2025 brawl between the Fever and the Sun, where players were being poked in the eye and shoved to the ground without any real intervention. That game spiraled into a total SHT show because the officiating crew was more concerned with their own authority than they were with player safety. Coaches around the league have long described this specific ref as a locker room cancer who carries personal grudges onto the court every night. They have a history of punishing teams that bring in too much media attention because they want to prove that they are still the ones in control of the narrative. The jealousy that fuels this behavior is something the league tried to ignore for a long time, but the explosion of popularity in 2026 made it impossible to hide. These older officials remember when the WNBA played in half-empty gyms, and they can't seem to handle the fact that a 23-year-old is now the face of a global brand. They want to go back to the days when they could dictate the flow of a game without millions of people analyzing every single frame of the broadcast. But the forensic evidence of their bias is now available for everyone to see, and the league has decided that protecting a toxic culture is no longer worth the cost. The ref who thought they were a hero for not falling for the hype actually became the villain who almost cost the league its biggest opportunity for growth. Internal documents leaked from the Referee Association show that there was an organized effort among a small group of veterans to ignore fouls committed against the rookie class. They called it "Welcome to the League," but the reality was a systematic attempt to suppress the impact of new players who were overshadowing the established names. One specific audio clip from a pregame meeting reveals the lead official telling the crew to let the defense be as physical as they want because the league needs to see if the kid is actually tough. This mindset is what led to the dangerous play in Dallas, where Clark was nearly unalived by a reckless closeout that went unpunished. The league office viewed this audio as a smoking gun, and it provided the legal grounds to place the entire crew on the permanent blacklist. The brand deals that Clark brought to the table were the primary reason for the swift action taken by the front office. When Gatorade and State Farm saw their primary spokesperson being targeted and physically assaulted without a whistle, they sent a formal letter to the commissioner's desk. The letter stated that their sponsorship agreements were contingent on a safe and fair playing environment, which is a polite way of saying they would pull their money if the refs didn't start doing their jobs. This corporate pressure is the real reason why a 20-year veteran was unceremoniously dumped from the rotation without a public explanation. The WNBA is now a business first and a basketball league second. And in the world of business, you do not let a middle manager sabotage your most valuable asset. The fallout from this blacklisting is spreading through the officiating ranks like wildfire, and other veteran refs are now scrambling to adjust their style before they end up on the list. We have seen a sudden shift in how games are being called over the last week, with whistles coming faster and fouls being called with much more consistency. The league is holding mandatory seminars where refs are being told that their primary job is to ensure the game remains a showcase for talent rather than a battle of wills between the stripes and the jerseys. Those who refuse to get on board are being told to pack their bags because the pool of replacement officials is growing every day. The WNBA is finally taking its officiating problem seriously, and the result is a product that looks more professional than it has in 25 years. The forensic breakdown of the Dallas game revealed that the lead official missed 12 blatant fouls in the first half alone, and 10 of those fouls were committed against Caitlin Clark. When you look at the statistics, the mathematical probability of a ref missing 10 fouls on one specific player by accident is almost zero. This was a calculated move, and the league used these stats to prove that the official was acting with malice rather than simple incompetence. The data showed that the same ref called a much tighter game when veteran players were involved, which highlighted the double standard that had been allowed to fester for far too long. By using these advanced analytics, the front office was able to build a case that was impossible for the referee union to fight, and the veteran was left with no choice but to accept their fate. The locker room at the Fever has been a place of quiet celebration since the news of the blacklist started to circulate. Players who have spent years being bullied by this specific official are finally feeling a sense of justice as the person who made their lives difficult is removed from the floor. One veteran player who wished to remain anonymous stated that the lead ref would often make personal comments to them during free throws, trying to get inside their head and ruin their focus. This type of unprofessional behavior was a known secret for years, but it took the arrival of a superstar like Clark to finally bring enough attention to the issue to force a change. The locker room cancer has been removed, and the atmosphere in the league is starting to heal as the focus shifts back to the competition on the court. The final buzzer on this career didn't happen during a game, but rather in a cold meeting room at the league headquarters, where the veteran was told their services were no longer required for the playoffs. There is no coming back from being blacklisted by the front office, because once you are labeled a liability to the brand, you are effectively unalived in the professional world. The ref is currently sitting at home watching the games from their couch, while the rest of the league moves forward into a record-breaking postseason. They are seeing the high-definition replays of the calls they missed and the fouls they ignored, and they have to live with the fact that their ego destroyed everything they worked for. The WNBA is moving toward a future where every single whistle is reviewed by AI, and there is no room left for a human being with a grudge to ruin the competition. This is the architect of their own downfall, and the story serves as a warning to every other official who thinks they can play God on the basketball court. The league is cleaning house, and they are starting with the people who refuse to respect the greatness of the athletes they are supposed to be protecting. The fans have spoken with their wallets, and the sponsors have spoken with their contracts, which means the era of the biased ref is officially in the grave. The meltdown we witnessed in Dallas was the last time that specific crew will ever influence the outcome of a major game. The truth is that the WNBA doesn't need them anymore because the stars are finally shining bright enough to expose the corruption that tried to keep them in the dark. The villain has been defeated by their own pride, and the league is finally free to become the powerhouse it was always meant to be. We are looking at a new era of basketball where the integrity of the game is no longer compromised by personal vendettas or outdated ideas about how rookies should be treated. The blacklist was a harsh move, but it was the only move that could save the league from a total collapse of credibility in the eyes of the global audience. Caitlin Clark and the new generation of stars are safe for now, but the war for the soul of the WNBA is far from over. As long as there are people who prioritize their own power over the success of a sport, there will be a need for investigations like this one. The whistle has been blown for the final time on a career built on bias, and the only thing left behind is the instant regret of a ref who thought they were untouchable.